Hello everyone. Good afternoon. How are we? Okay. So today I'm going to talk about ABFM further. As I told you, the first series was over, which was a blend of all the chapters individually. Matlab, we covered the entire modules, but with chapter wise sequence. Matlab, now if you want to study each and every chapter separately, you have got it. Now, since I've covered that part, what do we do next? Obviously, it is of no use to cover it up individually again. So I've decided that now I'll be looking forward towards the next level. The next level is let's understand the area of ABFM when it's all blended in. Matlab, not individual chapters, of course. We are covering up with the entire chapters together. Is it really important? Indeed, it is very important, right? If it wouldn't have been, then it is going to affect us, isn't it? Right? How does it affect us? Because in the examination, there are not going to be individual chapters. We need to understand when all the chapters come up together, how does it look like? Okay, along with this now, one more thing, everyone. Please share this session, subscribe to our channel as well. Along with this, share this session and don't forget to like it. Okay, now we have talked about the basics, we have talked about what to do with this particular session. Now comes the next point. We're talking about the victory series, of course. So in the victory series, we're covering up the entire area of management. How do we learn about the basics of it and XYZ things, है ना? How do we work upon it, everyone? Okay, now comes the first part. Let's see and understand this point. This point clearly says that what distinguish derivatives plans from the primary plans in the planning process. Matlab, what distinguishes derivative plans? Derivative plans are basically the plans which we derive, isn't it? We derive it further. While when I'm talking about the area of individual plans or the primary plans, these are the basics that we prepare for a business, isn't it? The derivative plans are less detailed, or derivatives are secondary plans, or derivatives are short-term goals, or derivative plans are formulated. Oopsie, it's all done. Formulated before primary plans. See, as I told you, derivative matlab derived plans. If these are derived plans, then of course we have to put it that way. Derived plans have to go there, है ना? So in this case, the correct answer is actually these are plans which are secondary to the primary plans. Right? The next point. Uh, what problem does the planning aim to address regardless future tasks? Matlab, there are certain problems with planning. See, the point is if we plan things properly, it becomes easier. But what's the issue there? Overlapping and wasteful activities, lack of decision making, unnecessary risk taking, or duplication of efforts. One particular thing that the problem that planning aim to address in future tasks. But I said I'll be doing the task, and you said, no, even I want to do this task. Both of us are fighting for it for no reason. Well, we can actually split it up as well, but we are not in the planning right now. No, we're just fighting over it. So what will happen? You end up doing it, I end up doing it, and there's one task which nobody even knows about. So what's the fun of it? So in this case, overlapping and wasteful activities are the first and the foremost things that planning says I will eliminate. है ना? Okay, everyone, what does the term SMART stand for in context with goal setting? This particular question was also asked in, I think, SEBI grade A examination as well. Everyone? Specific, measured, achieved, relevant, timely. Achieved, matlab we are assuming that we have already achieved the task. Then what's the fun? Then specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely, strategic, measured, aligned, result oriented, timely, structured, monitored, attainable, reviewed, and time bound. What's going to be the correct answer? It is specific because obviously it has to be the one which is very specific in nature. If it's not specific, then what's the fun of it? Isn't it, everyone? Then the next point is measured. Measured, they are not, they has to be measured as well. Matlab measurable. If I really ask you whether you are able to achieve it or not, you have to look forward to it, whether it is achievable or not. है ना? Then achievable is basically you can achieve it or not. That's another level. Then we have realistic. What do we say by realistic, everyone? Realistic is basically I said ki nahi. I think within no time we'll be having million rupees in the hand. That is not a realistic goal. You know, we can make goals, but we have to be more realistic about it. Then we have timely. Yeah, the one part that is required is the timeliness of the transactions, because if they're not timely, then people are gonna be confused about when to achieve the goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. All these things have to come up together. You know. Acha, this is one part. Then the next point that comes is next question. What do you mean by MBO? Management by objectives. पता है in life sometimes we just think कि let's just start go with the flow because something will come up. But what if we are supposed to first think about how to achieve the goals and grow? Why has management by objectives become fashionable in recent times? MBO really puts down or lays down the foundation of objectives. कि अच्छा this is objective everyone. Objective matlab you decide a particular aim to achieve. Basically, you develop a specific area कि this is what we want to achieve, and then we find the ways to achieve it further, isn't it? Right? First of all, there's a clarity in the main aim. Where do you want to go in the upcoming future? Does it due to its outdated principles or due to the need for managing the business goals or because it restricts employee growth or because it emphasizes rigid hierarchies? I think I would go for one particular thing that we can talk about is MBO. MBO doesn't believe in rigid hierarchies. It is something which cannot restrict an employee from growth. Why? Because it is giving the clarity. I think the basic thing that we would do is due to the need for managing business goals. You need to have goals when you want to achieve something. You cannot just start with your day and see, think about it. I just think about I have classes today, but there's no aim. I need to have an aim, isn't it? So if I have an aim, I can achieve the aim. Okay, here comes the next part. Who coined the term MBO? MBO is specified in our book as well, everyone. How do we specify it? Henry Ford, Peter F. Drucker, or uh, Frederick Winslow Taylor, or Elton Mayo? James Carter gave this particular part, everyone. In terms of James Carter, na, he gave it to them in terms of the learning that James Carter utilized it in the US area. They utilized this particular part, and this was used first in US. And then when we talk about this specific part, how does it work? It was coined by Peter F. Drucker, and but it was used in the US government for the first time. है ना? So I would say that is Peter F. Drucker. Done, everybody? Okay, so let's move on to the next point. What is the primary purpose of MBO, everyone? What's that primary purpose of MBO? To micromanage employees or to establish clear goals and parameters to limit employee autonomy. So this one particular thing is definitely not there. If you limit their autonomy, what will happen? They will not be able to grow further. Enforce strict rules and regulations. Indeed, we are never looking forward towards enforcing the strict rules, because if you add up a lot of strict rules, then you will find people end up being irritated with their work profile. कि ठीक है ना, this is what will I do with this particular job profile? They are so strict and this hampers my growth altogether. So people really have problems with these kind of standards, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you put a lot of restrictions on anybody, they cannot find the growth. So it's done. In this case, the answer is to establish clear goals. Those clear goals are absolutely important and they should be done as early as possible. Right? Okay, now let's move on. What is the specific limitation of MBO, everyone? Obviously, if it has positive, it would be having some negatives as well. It effectively addresses the cultural aspects of an organization. Yeah, it does. It affects it. You know? The second part is the goals and targets may overshadow uh, other important aspects like employee participation. It places equal emphasis on goal setting and operational issues. Or MBO considers the external environment. See, MBO is not externally thing. You don't look at other people. You look at yourself. You look at your organization. You look at how you work. है ना? So how does it work now? It effectively addresses the cultural aspects. And cultural aspects is not the point. It has never been the point. Goals and targets may overshadow other important aspects. You have to make up the goals. So there is no point. So, but they're talking about the limitation of it, na? It doesn't really work upon the extensively on external environment at all. Addressing is basically A is a positive point. So I think I'll go with B or C. I'll go with B actually, because C is also a positive point. There's only one point that is wrong. That is B here. Because na pata hai, sometimes we just get so blinded with our goals, we don't really look at the realities of anything. What do you think? Right? That's one part which is very, very important for everyone. है ना? So the point is, if we have too much of goal focus, then what will happen? Too much of goal focus really affects us. And not only badly, but very badly. Now comes the next point. Which of the following statements about MBO is true? Managers focus on operational issues. MBO system all management concerns comprehensively. Over dependence on MBO can lead to overlooking or important issues, and MBO considers the external environment. I think the answer is actually C in this case, because you over depend. This was the goal and we are not going to change the goal. The particular person is going to be, hurry, give a break, because you cannot just blindly think about all these things, na? Everyone, isn't it? One particular thing is clear. MBO is good, but you cannot just rely only on the MBO, na? Okay, now moving on to the next point. What does the term acronym PESTLE, or it is also called PESTLE, stands for in terms of the environment analysis? What do you mean by the term PESTLE? Everybody? PESTLE. Is it political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors, or profit, efficiency, sales, time, labor efficiency, people, environment, stakeholders, trends, laws, economics, or production, employee strategy? Then technology, law, and environment. When we talk about PESLE, it says P for political, E for economical, S for social, T for technological, L for legal, E for environmental. The correct answer is A, everyone. How do we say this, everyone? So in this case, what do we do? पता है, if I was studying about war, for example, Russia-Ukraine war, or you can say the Israel-Syria war, है ना? So if we talk about Israel-Palestine war, actually, sorry. So we are trying to explain that particular part. It has a political impact. Yes, every country has been asked to choose their sides. That is a political part. Then is economical. The entire both the countries are putting in the entire money in terms of what weapons, war, putting people onto this particular life online, social. It is disrupted. Demographic situation is bad. Women are dying, children are dying. There are so many things which are happening on both the sides, right? Technological. You're putting everything in terms of technology only in one particular part. Nothing else, huh? Then comes the next part, legal. Obviously, a few part is legal, a few part is illegal. International and national level have been talking about the entire things, you know. And then environmental factors. With all these wars and all going on, how will we work? Isn't it? So in this case, all these things are super important to understand the war area. Because if we don't understand what happens in the war, why would people stop going for the wars and all? But again, at the same time, there's nothing that you can do. Sometimes it is a part of defense, sometimes it's a part of looking forward towards survival. So anything can happen, right? Okay. Which factor of Pestle analysis focuses on stability of political environment and government intervention? See, we're talking about the political environment and also talking about government intervention. Government intervention really affects the work because obviously, when the government is intervening a lot in your working, what will happen? Nothing. You will not be able to work properly. है ना? The answer is political factors. It's an easy question. Huh? They could have given it in a different manner. So I think we look forward to something else. चलिए. Then let's end this particular session with this particular point. No, I think we can go for another question. We're still left with a few more questions, so let's continue further. Which aspect of socio cultural factors influences consumer behavior in banking? पता है social and culture leisure time activities we don't go to the bank for the leisure time. Of course, I think nobody's interested in standing in the queues and looking at other people and looking at your balances and all. It's just not fun. Language preferences. Is it a socio-cultural part which influences consumer behavior in the banking area? Yeah, it does, up to an extent, isn't it? Matlab, for example, a Punjabi would be talking in a different manner and they have a different accent as well. A particular Haryanvi person would be talking in their accent and their way of working would be different. While if you talk about the people who are living in Maharashtra, the people who are Keralite, for all the people who are in different areas of the country would be talking about it in a different manner altogether, right? Attitudes towards consumerism, I think this particular part is dependent upon how educated you are, to be very honest. If you're more educated, then your banking side, your awareness towards the banking area would be more. You would be really like, Acha, tell me more about the particular feature so that I don't bother you again. Otherwise, the people who are absolutely have no idea about it, they might be sitting with the bankers for a longer period and would be talking about their issues. Actually, I've seen people getting stuck in their lives and bankers helping them out in terms of their basic things to get their ATMs, to get their Aadhaar card connected with those. There are elderly people who face problems. They have enough money, but they don't know how to manage it. And bankers, in some areas, I think I've seen it in one of the branches of SBI only. There was a specific banker who was literally helping elderly people in terms of their working. He was training them how to use it. I think two, three elderly people literally went to him because he was so generous towards all these people and patient. Again, one particular thing is patience, which is required when you're dealing with the elders. You know? So that's the point. The answer is attitude towards consumerism. If the banks have a good relationship with the people now, automatically people come to them. People would love to come to them just because of this specific reason. Ki their attitude towards consumerism is very opened up. Now that person doesn't have to be anybody. He's just a banker who really knows his work well. And I think I personally have a respect for the specific banker whom I met there, because I think sir had spent more than around 1 hour, I would say, on helping out a specific person who had multiple bank accounts. Some of were dormant and some had problems, and he had started taking care of himself recently because his kids had left because they had to go somewhere. So he listened to their entire personal story along with the work, while also attending us because we were also there and asking him what to do regarding the KYC and everything else. So technically, n number of people were standing around him. He was listening to the personal story of that particular person as well as doing the work. So hats off, you really do a hard work. What role do technological factors play in shaping in the business landscape? They influence political stability, they impact exchange rates, they change the nature of the opportunities and threats, or they determine growth rates. Technological factors play a very important role. One of the basic things that they do is that uh, they change the nature of opportunities and threats. Now, matlab, earlier, if I used to go to bank and get the work done, their worrying area was different. They would see, acha, am I the same person if anybody else is coming to the bank and trying to take the money out? Now the problem is not that. Now the point is if anybody else is logging into my account, if my account is safe enough or not, if the transfer of the money is being done in a safer manner or not. The government is basically looking into this matter, and then security is a part of the banking area, which is extremely important because the money of the country is involved in it, है ना? Public money is super important there. Next pointer. How does organizing contribute to efficiency in administration? Organizing plays a very important role by increasing duplication of labor, by collapsing unrelated jobs into a single area of expertise, by reducing coordination among the departments, or by creating misunderstandings. So, how does organizing contribute to efficiency? Organizing plays a very important role. If I tell you, pata hai, I have classes today, pata hai, 1, 2, 3, 4, I just keep on blabbering, these are the classes. After a moment you will be like, ma'am, you need to stop, you need to just organize your work. I said, how? I'll just say ki class at this time, this time, this time, this time. Acha, sorted. You have a gap at this point, you do the work. मतलब, see, this is a clarity between us ना कि हाँ इस time पे हम लोग काम कर लेंगे. That is a part of it. That means by collapsing unrelated jobs into one single area of expertise. So that is one particular thing that we need to make sure we have an efficiency in administration. The things which are similar can be kept on one side, the things which are not can be kept on another. Okay, everyone, as you already know, the JIB registration has begun. So for all the CIB aspirants also, we have a sweet gesture from our organization side, and that is we are coming up with one of the biggest sales that we'll provide you, and that is we are providing you the entire courses at 81% discount, everyone. 80% on our website, or 81% on our uh, 81% on our app. If you go through the app, you get 1% extra. Na? That's as what. Go on to the area of JIB and CIB. Go on to the area of CIB June 2024. Bang on. Look at this, everyone. Double validity is going on. It is available at 7148. Don't go for this particular code. Go for the code Y541. As soon as you'll apply it, you will get it for 81%. 6499 only, everyone. This is for 12 months. You just have to pay 6500. 12 months you're getting all the optional subjects, you're getting all the bilingual English medium test series. What not are you getting? Everything are you getting in this particular area. So matlab n number of benefits that is being provided to you. You should look forward to this particular area because this is super duper important when it comes to your preparation, right? So that's it for the day, everyone. We'll be meeting in the next class tomorrow. Thank you so much for being there. Bye.